Thank you to all who came to hang out at Walters before Wednesday's victory. If you missed out, we'll have another one of these over the summer. Walters is the ideal spot to go before and after games at Nationals Park.
And now, two pigeons bemoaning the fact you can choose the TV you want with DirecTV.
So now they can pick out their favorite entertainment when they sign up and save money?
You mean if you like sports?
You can get a sports pack.
What about entertainment?
Entertainment pack.
It's like finding an old pizza with your favorite toppings, which for me would be pineapple and toenails.
Pineapple?
Pay for the TV you want, not the TV you don't. Genre pack starting at $34.99 a month. Visit DirecTV.com for more information. New residential customers only. Local channels vary by market. Services renew monthly unless you cancel online. Credit card required. Restrictions apply.
Here's the 3-1. Swinging a long drive. Right field. Way back it goes, and it'll come down in the second deck. Oh, what a blast for James Wood. And the Nationals lead it 1-0. 5 pitches in. That's his second leadoff home run, number 8 on the season. He absolutely destroyed that pitch. In and out of the second deck in straightaway right field. Here's Sagano to the belt, and he fires. And a swing and a long drive. Deep right. Will it stay fair? It's way back toward the corner, and it's gone. Up into the upper deck for Josh Bell. He tosses the bat away as he heads to first base. That's home run number 4 for Josh. The Nationals on 2 long balls here in the bottom of the first lead the Orioles 3-0. Another big first inning for the Nationals. 0-1 from Soto. Swinging a fly ball, center field. It's deep enough. Mullins drifting back. He will square up, make the catch. Call will tag at third. He'll come down the line, and the Nationals are back in front. Garcia delivers a go-ahead sacrifice fly. Nationals 4, Orioles 3. Big plate appearance by Luis Garcia.
And welcome to Nats Chat, along with MASNsports.com Nationals insider Mark Zuckerman, who is at Nationals Park. I'm Al Galdi, host of the Al Galdi podcast. The Nationals now have won 4 of their last 5 games and now are a win away from sweeping the Orioles. The Nats beat the O's 4-3 at Nats Park on Wednesday evening in Game 2 of a 3-game series. The Nats won despite blowing a 3-1 7th-inning lead, but the Nats did win. Now in MLB's 2025 regular season are 11-13, getting closer to 500. This installment of Nats Chat brought to us by Window Nation. Call Window Nation 866-90Nation. Tell Window Nation that the Nats Chat podcast sent you to learn more about the great offer. Buy 4 windows, get 4 windows free, an offer in which you pay nothing until 2027. The offer is good now through April 30th. Nats shortstop C.J. Abrams seemingly is about to come off the 10-day injured list, which he has been on due to a right hip flexor strain. Abrams on Wednesday afternoon played in all 9 innings in a game for AA Harrisburg as part of his minor league rehab assignment. He is the Nats' usual number 1 batter, but could that now be changing? James Wood is thriving in the number 1 spot. He on Wednesday evening as the Nats starting left fielder and number 1 batter went 1 for 3 with a solo homer and a walk. Wood in this regular season in the number 1 spot, OPS of 1,188. Not bad. Mark, Nats manager Davey Martinez, I would say, is going to have a decision to make, although you asked Davey about this during the postgame session, and it sounds like Davey already has made up his mind.
Yeah, he's thought about it for about a split second, and then I think he came to the conclusion that I figured he probably would, and that is that C.J. Abrams is most likely going to keep leading off when he comes back, and James Wood's going to bat second.
I'm not thinking about it for a second, but, if C.J. can get on for James, it's pretty nice. So, C.J., rightfully so, he deserves to get back here and get in the leadoff spot. And when he gets going, which he will, those 2 guys at the top of the order would be pretty good.
There's nothing wrong with that because CJ was playing well before he got hurt. He was getting on base. He was doing all the things that he did last year during the first half when he was an all-star. And as great as James Wood has been in the leadoff spot, boy, it'd be nice if those were 2-run homers instead of solo homers, wouldn't they? So why not see if you can get Abrams on base first and then let Wood do what he does, which is hit the ball really hard and very often over the fence. So if you try that and after a week or 2 it's not working, maybe you reconsider it. But I think it makes sense to stick with what the plan was all along. And you hope that you've got 2 really productive hitters going 1-2 for you. A really dynamic duo. I mean, what James Wood is doing right now is off the charts good. And we may not be surprised because we kind of knew he had this in him. But let's not lose sight of the fact of just how well he's playing, just how hard he's hitting the ball on a nightly basis. Really looking like one of the best hitters in the whole league.
The homer that he hit on Wednesday evening was this like majestic clout. So the Nats offense in this game overall, great in the first inning, and then really did not do much. The Nats for the game, 4 runs, 6 hits, just 1 walk, 0 for 1 with runners in scoring position. The 6 hits were 2 homers and 4 singles, and the 2 homers came in a 3-run first for the Nats. So Wood, he homered in that first inning. He in that Nats 3-run first had a leadoff homer on a moonshot to right field for a 1-0 Nats lead. The homer per Statcast, a projected 431 feet and an exit velocity of 116.3 miles per hour. One of the hardest hit balls that you will ever see.
I believe officially the hardest hit home run by a national in this ballpark since they started tracking these things, which was 2015. So, if they had the numbers prior to that, I'm sure that Will Nieves' famous walk-off opposite field wall scraper would have topped 116.3. But since we don't ever know for sure, we'll give the title to James Wood. I mean, the night before, everything was 107, 108, 109. It's remarkable how consistently hard he makes contact. And in this case, you saw him turn on one. And we keep talking about how he's got this opposite field power that's unmatched. And why doesn't he ever pull the ball? Well, he has it in him. He's just not getting pitches on the inner third to do that with. All those opposite field shots are because pitchers are staying away from him on the outer third of the zone. When they do finally come in, look what he can do with it. It's even more majestic and impressive. It's just such a thing to watch a guy with that much raw power and skill, putting it all together and connecting with the baseball with that kind of consistency.
So if you are a listener of the Nats Chat podcast who goes back to last season, you perhaps remember us touting James Wood as a Statcast darling and how every game he would have these exit velocities in the 100s. And no, he wasn't getting as many extra base hits as you would like, but the point that we were making was he was hitting balls hard. And that process matters because that's indicative of a guy who is going to start getting the extra base hits. And sure enough, the extra base hits are coming, and the Statcast data continues to be so impressive. Wood also had a good-looking and key walk in this game. He and the Nats 1-run eighth, drew an 8-pitch full-count walk despite having been down at 1.12. Your James Wood OPS for this regular season now up to a team best 934. So with CJ Abrams, do you expect him to be activated for Game 3 this series against the O's?
I expect him to be here at the ballpark on Thursday. He played 6 innings on Tuesday night in Harrisburg, then 9 innings on Wednesday afternoon. By all accounts, felt good. Clearly, you're going all 9 innings. You must be feeling all right. And he's not staying there for another day. He is coming back. So my sense is they're going to bring him back here, take a look at him on Thursday afternoon before BP, maybe run him through some drills, and try to decide, do you want to activate him right away for that game? Or do you say, hey, you just played 2 games in a row on the rehab. Let's give you one more day, make sure the body feels all right, and then we activate you on Friday for the Mets series. My hunch is that they'll take that more conservative approach and wait till Friday. But I won't rule out the possibility that he looks good enough, says he's ready to go, and they decide, yes, let's just do it on Thursday. Either way, he's about to return, and that's going to be huge for them and the lineup and providing some depth and everything else that goes along with having an all-star shortstop playing for you every day.
This is a big series that's coming up against the New York Mets. It's a 4-game wraparound series at Nationals Park. The Mets, in case you're not paying attention, have the best record in the majors at 18-7. Do you think the magnitude of this series at all plays into what the Nats do with CJ Abrams?
No, probably not. I mean, if he clearly wasn't ready, they wouldn't activate him just because they know it's a big series. But if he is ready, then of course they want to get him out there. I don't think they're thinking in those terms. This is about making sure he's good to go for the next 5 months and not worried about one particular game or another. I do wonder, and I don't know if this will be true or not, but the fact that they won the first 2 against the Orioles, they already have the series, does that make them a little less likely to activate him Thursday, where okay, they've already won the series, everything now is kind of icing on the cake if they were to sweep it, as opposed to, hey, they need a win here to take the series, or they need a win to avoid a sweep. Let's get him in there and make a difference right away. That could factor into it somehow. But I really think most of all, it's just about how does he feel coming off the 2 rehab games? Does he feel like he's ready to play right again the next night? Or do you give him a day to go through the motions, take BP, field some grounders, all that, and then activate him the following day.
And look, the Nats want and need C.J. Abrams back, but they have been able to do okay at shortstop in the meantime. Nasim Nunez has done some good things. And how about Trey Lipscomb? Terrific defensive play in this game. Top of the ninth, a leaping catch of a liner off the bat of Adley Rutschman with Gunnar Henderson on first in that ninth inning. So, again, you want Abrams back. He's your number one shortstop, clearly. But a salute to Nunez and also to Lipscomb for that defensive play on Wednesday evening.
The defense in his absence has been excellent, maybe even better than you'd get from C.J. Abrams. Let's acknowledge that. But the offense has been far less than you would get from Abrams. And that's really the reason that he's coming back. That Lipscomb move in the ninth, I thought that was interesting because Davey pinch hits for Nunez, the right call, in the eighth inning with Alex Call, who does exactly what he needs to do, singles up the middle, starts the game-winning rally. And now you've got to decide who's going to play shortstop for the ninth inning with a one-run lead. You could go the veteran, Ahmed Rosario, or you could go the kid in Lipscomb, who, while he has played shortstop, he's been much more at third base, second base, even first base. So it was a little bit of a gamble to put him there, but good for him. He and Luis Garcia kind of got a little bit mixed up on a grounder up the middle that started the inning. I don't know that it would have mattered either way, but he came right back on the next play and snagged a leaping line drive right up the middle to help prevent that inning from getting any worse. So that was big time from him in a spot that maybe he didn't necessarily think he'd find himself in, playing shortstop in the ninth inning of a one-run game.
So James Wood homered on Wednesday evening, and the other homer for the Nats came from Josh Bell. He and that 3-run first came through with a big home run for the Nats. Bell in this game as the Nats starting DH and number 5 batter, 1 for 3 with a 2-run homer. He had a 2-out, 2-run homer to right field for a 3-0 Nats lead. It's interesting with Josh Bell, the overall offensive numbers are not good. The slash line for this regular season is still pretty underwhelming. 141 batting average, 256 on base, 321 slugging. But he does have 4 homers over 22 games. He is on pace for well over 20 homers. And I guess if you're the Nats and you think about, okay, what you realistically are hoping for from Josh Bell, if he can give you 20-plus homers, that's a win. I mean, the slash line numbers do need to come up because right now they are bad. So he's got to get on base more and he's got to hit for more power beyond the homers. But he is hitting some homers and he obviously hit a significant one in this game on Wednesday evening.
Yeah, I think he's like 5 for his last 40, but 3 of the 5 are home runs. So when he is doing something, he's making it count. Yes, you'd like to see some more singles and doubles and a little more production out of him, but at least he is coming through with big hits when they need him. And this was a big one, 2-run homer in the first. All of a sudden, it's a very different kind of inning, being up 3-0 versus 1-0. And let's remember, the whole focus with him all along has been hit for power, hit the ball in the air, even at the expense of maybe the batting average and your strikeout total and all that. And we are seeing that maybe too much to the extreme in that regard, because you do still need him to come through with some just solid base hits at various times. But he is kind of doing what they want him to do to some extent. And while it hasn't been a ton of contact, the contact he is making has been pretty loud and in the air. And, he's got 4 homers, so you can't complain about that. 4 homers, 24 games into the season.
And the Nats continue to hit homers. 2 more in this game, 27 home runs over 24 games. Vast improvement over what we have seen with this team in recent seasons. Hey, it's Al Galdi for Window Nation, which has a gift for Nats Chat podcast listeners that's as good as any James Wood home run. 4 free windows for every 4 windows that you buy, and you pay nothing until 2027. This offer is good through April 30th, so hurry. Schedule your free estimate at 866-90Nation or windownation.com and tell Window Nation that you want the deal that you heard about from Al Galdi on the Nats Chat podcast. There's no limit to how much you can save, and if you buy a house full of windows, Window Nation will include a free entry door. Window Nation partners with the top window manufacturers in the nation to build windows to their high-quality specs. Then Window Nation passes the savings on to you. You'll protect your home with some of the best windows that you can buy at a fraction of the price of other brands, and you'll increase the value of your home. 4 free windows for every 4 windows that you buy, and you pay nothing until 2027. The offer is good through April 30th. Call 866-90Nation or visit windownation.com and tell Window Nation that you want the deal that you heard about from Al Galdi on the Nats Chat podcast.
I'm excited to tell you about the designs Homage has cooked up for the 2025 MLB season. If you're as baseball obsessed as I am, you'll love the full roster of Major League looks from Homage. Amazing comfort and deep cut designs that help fans show off passion for their favorite teams. Homage has a massive selection that tells the story of the greatest sport from its very beginnings. Deep logo history, coast-to-coast stadium tours, and the biggest players from every era. Legends never die at Homage. If you need your new shirt for going to a ball game, Homage has you covered with its most comfortable fan clothing, and it's available for fans of all ages. This year's collection hits dinger after dinger after tater. Fleece, tees, bottoms, and more. And don't forget to check out the new starter jacket lineup, an iconic dugout look you don't want to miss. Heroes get remembered, but legends never die, and these looks go long, period. Check out the Homage MLB collection to find your team's coolest gear.
And now, two pigeons who can't believe how good humans have it with DirecTV.
These humans are hopping from streaming apps to live sports without batting a wing.
All from the DirecTV home screen.
With just one click, you could be watching a baseball game, a movie on Netflix,
Or a critically acclaimed documentary.
You watch documentaries?
I love the ones that leave you with a question.
What?
Exactly.
DirecTV, a better way to watch whatever you want to watch. Visit DirecTV.com. Internet-connected Gemini device, separate Netflix membership, and additional paid subscriptions required for third-party apps. Restrictions apply.
He checks on Mullins at second, and he deals. Swinging a fly ball left center field. Jacob Young chasing over. He's there. He'll make the catch. And Trevor Williams finds his way, wiggling through 5 innings yet again. He will take a 3-1 lead into the bottom of the 5th inning as the Orioles strand a runner at second.
Trevor Williams is the Trevor Williams of 2024, now officially back. Williams in the Nats 4-3 win over the Orioles on Wednesday evening. Good for a second consecutive outing. 1 run in 5 innings, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk, which you would call vintage Trevor Williams, if we can call what he did last season vintage. He gave up 6 hits, all of which were singles. Did throw a lot of pitches, 99 pitches over 5 innings, 61 strikes, 38 balls. But he did what he did off what he did in the Nats 1-0 loss at the Pittsburgh Pirates last Thursday afternoon. He, in that game, allowed 1 run in 5 innings with 5 strikeouts. Williams, over his first 3 starts this regular season, ERA of 7.36. Those first 3 starts were 2023 Trevor Williams. These last 2 starts have been 2024 Trevor Williams.
Yeah, I think we've noted here a little bit, and it's kind of interesting. He's giving up hits, but they're mostly singles. So he is keeping the ball down in the zone and not giving up really loud contact in the air, which of course was his problem a couple years ago. And he's giving you what you need. I mean, it wasn't all that pretty. There was only 1 clean 1-2-3 inning. The pitch count was up there all along. You knew, he usually only goes 5 regardless, but you knew there was no chance of him going further than that in this case because he was going to be approaching 100 pitches regardless of it. But he got the job done, and there was a really interesting moment there in the 5th inning. Davey Martinez goes to the mound in the middle of the 5th with a runner in scoring position, and usually that means the starting pitcher is out of the game. And instead he had a chat with Trevor Williams, and he left him in there, and he got through it, got out of the inning with nothing else on the board, 99 pitches total. That's the kind of move that you don't see a lot, but I think, as Trevor described it, there's been some trust earned on his part from the manager. And Davey said, he went out there needing to hear it from Trevor himself, that he was good to go, and he expected the truth from him. And Trevor said, look, I'll tell you if I can't keep going. But if I say I want the rest of the inning, I'm giving you the rest of the inning. He did it. Good on him and good on Davey for leaving him in there to finish that out.
So those circumstances to me are so interesting because the manager goes out there wanting to hear something from the pitcher with the idea of keeping the pitcher in the game. And presumably the pitcher knows that when the manager is coming out. And so if you're the pitcher, you say to yourself, okay, it's one thing if you really truly want to stay in the game and feel like you can stay in the game. But if you don't feel like you can stay in the game, is there not a part of you that doesn't want to say that you don't want to stay in the game because you don't want to come off soft? Right? You don't want to come off like a wuss. You want to come off tough and like an alpha and like you want to stay in the game. And I always find those predicaments, the psychology of them, just fascinating. And I think it's, on the one hand, a little dangerous for a manager to do that. But on the other hand, you do find out some things about your players when you do that. So it's a fine line that you have to walk as a manager. And, Davey Martinez is a guy who we know knows his players well. So I think in a circumstance like this, you kind of trust him because he knows what he's doing. He knows the makeups of these guys. But I think you do have to be careful in these spots because you don't want a guy trying to play hero and trying to come off a certain way when he shouldn't be staying in that game.
Yeah, and I think what you point out there is really important. Davey knows the players and vice versa. The players know Davey. That decision doesn't just boil down to the words that Trevor Williams says in the moment. It boils down to his expressions, his, mannerisms. And that's the kind of stuff that Davey has already learned about him over the last several years. It's not just in that one moment, okay, well, he looks like he's legit. He may say, yeah, I think I can do this. But you can tell. You look a guy in the eye, you read the mannerisms. If you know him well and you have good communication with him over multiple seasons, you've established that trust and you know if he's being sincere or not. A pitcher's very rarely going to say in that spot, yeah, I'm done. But there's a difference in the way of saying, yeah, I can get through this, or yes, I got this. And a manager knows the difference, especially those that really get to know their players over time. So I think that's the key to it. This wasn't a pitcher he's unfamiliar with going out there for the first time to talk to him. It's somebody that he keeps in constant contact with and has learned over the last few years what can be expected of him and what can't.
The Nats bullpen in this 4-3 win over the Orioles on Wednesday evening. 4 Nats relievers combined to allow 2 runs in 4 innings. So another game in which the Nats bullpen allowed at least a run. Jackson Rutledge tossed a scoreless top of the 6th despite issuing a 1-out hit by pitch and a 2-out walk. Jose A. Ferrer officially allowed a run in a third of an inning. He and the Orioles 1-run 7th faced 4 batters but got just 1 out, including issuing a 1-out walk and issuing a 1-out hit by pitch to load the bases. Jorge Lopez, he allowed a run in 1 2/3 innings. He came into the game top of the 7th, bases loaded, 1 out, Nats holding a 3-1 lead. Did a good job in this spot, retired each of the 2 batters he faced, though the first out was an RBI sac fly by Tyler O'Neill to cut the Nats lead to 3-2. But Lopez in the top of the 8th allowed a run on a leadoff opposite field triple by Jordan Westburg to the right field corner and a 1-out RBI sac fly by Ramon Arias to tie the game at 3. And Kyle Finnegan, he tossed a scoreless top of the 9th for the save despite giving up a leadoff infield single by Gunnar Henderson up the middle and despite giving up a 1-out first pitch single by Ryan Mountcastle into left field. So a few things with the Nats bullpen in this game. First of all, 2 more hit by pitches. This hit by pitches thing is out of control with this Nats pitching staff. Second of all, Jose A. Ferrer, at times he looks so good and at times he looks so bad. And in this game, he looks so bad. And Kyle Finnegan, I noted this the other day, the gap between his ERA and his whip is now even tighter. The ERA is tiny. The whip is high. The ERA is at 1.69, which is excellent. The whip is at 1.41, which is not so good. But Kyle Finnegan is toying with doing something that is so rare, having a whip that is higher than the ERA, when the ERA is really good. I just am fascinated by that. But you go Kyle Finnegan, 9 for 9 on saves is he in this regular season now.
Well, and he even did admit that he has not been as sharp as he wants to be and that he's been getting away with some stuff. But I'll tell you what, if he's getting away with it and still going 9 for 9 in save opportunities, and I think he was conveying this as well, once he gets locked in a little bit more, hopefully it takes it to another level and it's not like he has to suffer any blown saves while he's trying to figure it out. So his splitter hasn't been as sharp. He's leaving them up in the zone some. He's talked about really wanting to use his slider more and finally have a third pitch he can rely on. But in these tight games, sometimes you're just not confident enough to use it when it really counts. One of these nights, he may just have to throw it in a big spot and hope for the best on it. But again, as I keep saying, he may get himself in trouble, but he's not going to panic at that kind of situation like some of the other pitchers in this bullpen do. Once they get into trouble, you can see there's no coming back. In Finnegan's case, and I think this is a big step for him, in the past, you kind of knew if he didn't have it, it was going to get ugly. He is finding a way to brush that off and strand runners in scoring position. So good on him for doing that. And as far as the rest of the bullpen went in this game, yeah, it wasn't real pretty, but it also wasn't that ugly. And I feel like the offense kind of hung them out to dry. By doing nothing at the plate after the first inning, they gave the bullpen no real margin for error. And so, yes, they did. Ferrer and Lopez did blow the 2-run lead, but it would have been nice to get some help from your teammates and not leave it quite as tight as that. So I'm not giving them a free pass, but I will say that you're asking for 4 almost perfect innings out of a bullpen that's far from perfect, and it's a tough thing to ask them to do that against any lineup.
The hit by pitches thing is out of control. None of them are on purpose. We get that. But that is the kind of thing that can anger other teams. When you keep hitting players with pitches, like other teams don't care necessarily if you're doing it on purpose or not. And if you get a key guy injured, you very much do anger an opposing team. So this is something that's got to get under control. If for no other reason than, you're putting guys on base. But man, 2 more hit by pitches by this Nats bullpen in this game.
It does seem like a lot of them, I don't have the stats in front of me, but it feels like a lot of them have been on breaking balls that are just nowhere close. So that's at least a little better than the fastballs up and in that can really cause damage. But yeah, hit by pitches and walks, there's just no excuse for that out of the bullpen. How many times have we seen a guy come in and it's the first batter they face? Cannot throw 3 strikes before you throw 4 balls, or hit a batter right off the bat, and you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball immediately. And I do wonder if some of these guys are pitching scared. They know how much trouble it's been, how this group as a whole has not succeeded, and maybe they feel like they're pitching for their jobs every time they take the mound. You can't do that. You got to trust that you're good enough, trust that you can get outs by throwing the ball over the plate, not tighten up. I feel like a lot of these guys are pitching tight. Ferrer, it's hard to figure out because, as you said, one night he can look great. The next night he can look the complete opposite of that. I mean, to his credit, he seems to find a way to bounce back the next time out, and that's why they keep going to him. But he's got to learn some consistency here, and I'm not sure what the answer really is to make that happen.
LinkedIn Jobs is here to help small business owners with that crucial step of making the right hires. LinkedIn makes it easy to post your job for free, share it with your network, and get qualified candidates you can manage all in one place. Here's how it works. Simply post your job, and LinkedIn's new feature can help you write job descriptions and then quickly get your job in front of the right people with deep candidate insights. You can either post your job for free or pay to promote it, and promoted jobs get 3 times more qualified candidates. Find out why more than 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring today. Find your next great hire on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/natschat. That's linkedin.com/natschat to post your job for free. linkedin.com/natschat. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm excited to tell you about the designs Homage has cooked up for the 2025 MLB season. If you're as baseball obsessed as I am, you'll love the full roster of major league looks from Homage. Amazing comfort and deep cut designs that help fans show off passion for their favorite teams. Homage has a massive selection that tells the story of the greatest sport from its very beginnings. Deep logo history, coast-to-coast stadium tours, and the biggest players from every era. Legends never die at Homage. If you need your new shirt for going to a ball game, Homage has you covered with its most comfortable fan clothing, and it's available for fans of all ages. This year's collection hits dinger after dinger after tater after tater. Fleece, tees, bottoms, and more. And don't forget to check out the new starter jacket lineup, an iconic dugout look you don't want to miss. Heroes get remembered, but legends never die, and these looks go long, period. Check out the Homage MLB collection to find your team's coolest gear.
Everybody on their feet, 22,246. Finnegan ready, no balls, 2 strikes. Here's the kick and the pitch. Swinging a pop-up left side. Tena going back on it. He is calling for it. Jose Tena makes the catch, and Kyle Finnegan gets it done again. Nationals win it 4-3. Finnegan has save number 9, and the Nationals win the series over the Orioles.
Speaking of hit by pitches, did you happen to see this? So we had the recent 3-game suspension of Jorge Lopez that was reduced to a 2-game suspension. Why was Lopez suspended? For supposedly intentionally throwing a pitch at Andrew McCutchen. MLB phrased it as Lopez intentionally threw at Andrew McCutchen. John Boy Media on X on April 21st put up a video, and above the video wrote, Andrew McCutchen knew that Jorge Lopez threw at him on purpose, a breakdown. A classic clickbait kind of post on X. Well, among those who responded to this post from John Boy Media was Andrew McCutchen. And I quote, "It wasn't on purpose," end quote. So the very man who supposedly was thrown at on purpose, he himself says that he was not thrown on purpose. How bad does that make MLB look for suspending Jorge Lopez and also Davey Martinez?
100%. And it's why I wish, and I don't know the exact process of these things, of how MLB makes the decisions, but I would hope that they talked to Andrew McCutchen after the fact and said, what do you think? And if McCutchen told him the truth, then they would say, okay, we believe you. You're one of the big stars of this game. You have no reason to lie to us about this. Yeah, okay, you know what? It wasn't on purpose. Let's not do that. And I keep coming back to Derek Shelton made all of that happen. McCutchen did not react in the moment like he thought it was anything bad. He tried to walk away from it. John Boy does a really good job on a lot of stuff, and they're fun videos. They read lips and they pick up audio and things. And sometimes it's really illuminating, but it's not always 100% right. And just because you think you know what a guy is thinking in his head doesn't mean you actually do. And good on Andrew McCutchen, really one of the classy players in the game, for coming right out and saying, no, it absolutely was not on purpose. And bad on MLB for suspending a guy and his manager for something that the principals involved all insist had no reason to be cause for punishment.
That would infuriate me if I'm Mike Rizzo. I mean, I make a phone call to the league office about that and say, hey, guys, take a look at what the player himself had to say about what went down. So the Nats can get the sweep here. Thursday evening, 6:45, Game 3 of this series, and the pitching matchup would appear to be quite favorable for the Nats. Mackenzie Gore versus Cade Povich. Look, right now with the Orioles, the only starting pitcher who's going well is Tomoyuki Sagano, and the Nats on Wednesday evening beat him. We know how it has been with Mackenzie Gore. One start, he's great. Another start, not as great. But it's not like he's, terrible in those other starts. It's just that he's not at his best. But Gore at his best this season has been lights out. And you wonder, especially with the O's not doing so well right now, if we could get one of those outings come Thursday evening.
Well, especially against left-handers, the Orioles have been awful. One of the worst productive lineups in baseball for whatever reason that is. And you saw what Mitchell Parker did to them in the opener of the series. So if I'm Mackenzie Gore, I'm licking my chops, but he's got to execute. He's got to keep the pitch count down. They need him to go deeper in this game because they did have to extend the bullpen a little bit in this one. And the way these things go, they're always close. And so chances are if they do win the game, we're going to be seeing Finnegan and Ferrer again and maybe Lopez, who knows. So if I'm Davey Martinez, I would love to have an efficient Mackenzie Gore give me at least 6, maybe even 7 if he can do really what he's supposed to do against that lineup. And then, like we've seen in both games in the series, the Nats have come out in the first inning and taken a quick lead. That makes such a difference, I think, on the pitcher's mindset and everything. Even though they didn't sustain it in this game like they did in the opener, you get out to an early lead, let Mackenzie Gore go to work and do his thing. You're going to have an Orioles team that is desperate to win. They are in a bad way right now. They are seeing their season come apart, and it's only April, but we've seen it before with the Nationals. We know how this works, especially in a tough division like that. They get swept in this series, they're in a really bad place. So they are going to be motivated, but at the same time, could be a little tight going out there. And if they get down early, watch out. So to me, the first couple innings of that game could be really critical.
Yeah, the O's have lost 12 of their last 18 games. You tell us what you think. Hit us up on X at Nats_chat. You can find us on Blue Sky at Nats Chat Podcast. You can email the show, natschatpodcast@gmail.com. And we have a website that we invite you to check out, natschatpodcast.com. This installment of Nats Chat brought to us by Window Nation. Call Window Nation 866-90Nation. Tell Window Nation that the Nats Chat Podcast sent you to learn more about the Buy 4 Windows, Get 4 Windows free offer in which you pay nothing until 2027. The offer is good now through April 30th. All Nationals radio highlights on Nats Chat are courtesy of 106.7 The Fan. For Mark Zuckerman, I'm Al Galdi. We thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next time on the Nats Chat podcast.
Bottom of the ninth moment. The Nats and Cubs are tied. Who comes up? Will Nieves. Who? Will Nieves, who in 12 years has never hit a home run in the majors.
Earn a business degree on your terms. At Capella University, our FlexPath format is available in select programs and lets you learn on your schedule. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.